Imagine stepping onto a ship where disco beats, deck games, and midnight buffets set the pace. In the 70s and 80s, cruising became a floating paradise of fun, freedom, and adventure. From embarkation to unforgettable ports of call. 1. Embarkation and setting sail. As we arrive at the bustling cruise terminal in Miami, or perhaps New York, LA, or Barcelona, there's this unmistakable energy in the air. Travelers gather, luggage in hand, their excitement palpable as they prepare to board. Saltwater tang mixes with coffee aroma from nearby cafes, seagulls circle overhead, and luggage carts clatter along the pier, adding to the lively buzz of anticipation. While seasoned cruisers walk with confidence, preparing to return to a familiar floating paradise, children tug at their parents' hands, excited to see the ship for the first time. Cruise members in crisp uniforms smile and guide passengers through the organized chaos, and the sheer scale of the ship looming over the pier inspires awe. Boarding a ship in the 1970s was an experience like no other, a rite of passage into a whole new world. The moment you stepped onto the gangway, a sense of possibility washed over you. Crew members greeted passengers with warm smiles, helped with luggage, and guided them to their staterooms. The ships were unforgettable. Towering funnels reached into the sky, decks stretched for what seemed like miles, and sunlight poured through panoramic windows. Bold colors on the hull and railings made the ship feel alive. From the first step, it was clear this wasn't just a vessel. It was a floating promise of adventure, relaxation, and fun. Back then, cruise ships were in an exciting period of transition. The stiff elegance of the ocean liner era, formal attire, polished wood, strict dining rules, was giving way to this more relaxed, playful, and inclusive cruise culture. The idea of a resort at sea was born in the 70s, turning ships into destinations of their own right. Travel wasn't just about getting from point A to B anymore. It was about enjoying every moment on board. Passengers spent their days sunbathing on expansive decks, diving into sparkling pools, joining lively deck games, or catching live shows that were just as thrilling as anything on land. The first thing that struck you upon entering the Grand Atrium was the energy. Couples walked hand in hand, kids joyfully ran past, and the soft sound of elevators reverberated as people moved through the ship's many levels. Laughter, conversation, and gentle music filled the air as crew members moved along the crowd with ease, ready to help. As the ship gently left the pier, families waved to friends left behind, champagne corks popped in toasts, and the ship's horn bellowed, a jubilant announcement that the adventure had officially begun. By sunset, the cruise was fully underway. Passengers explored every deck, discovering hidden nooks, bars, lounges, and observation points. Some headed straight for the pool, dipping into the refreshing water, while others settled into deck chairs with a cocktail, watching the sun sink into the horizon. Instant camaraderie developed among strangers. Shared excitement and curiosity forged quick friendships. Even with the laid-back vibe of the 70s and 80s, there was still this touch of refinement. The decks were spotless, lounges elegant, and the crew perfectly balanced professionalism and friendliness. In just a few hours, the ship transformed into a floating city of fun, laughter, and endless possibilities. A true world of adventure and freedom at sea. 2. Life on board, cabins, and amenities. The moment you step into your cabin, you notice this incredible attention to detail. Compared to earlier eras, the 70s and 80s cabins offered comfort and space, making you feel at home at sea. Cabins were spacious, with fabrics, mirrored staircases, and quirky accents that made every corner photogenic. Some went even further. Family suites had individual bathrooms, climate control, and huge windows with endless ocean views, comfortably fitting up to 5 people. You can easily imagine waking up to the sway of the waves, gentle sunlight sparkling on the water, a view that just never gets old. The cabin's interior design flawlessly captures the daring style of the time. Mirrored staircases, patterned curtains, and oddball furniture all come together to create a space that's opulent and whimsical. It's the type of location where you could find yourself taking pictures just because every viewpoint is so striking. Cabins were comfortable and visually striking. Every detail from patterned fabrics to quirky accents, it made each space memorable. And beyond the staterooms, the ship is packed with facilities designed to keep everyone entertained and relaxed. Pools glisten under the sun, loungers perfect for catching some rays, and nearby jacuzzis bubble invitingly, a dream spot to soak up the sea breeze. Fitness fans can hit the gym or jog along tracks circling the upper decks, while anyone craving a quieter escape can dive into a book in the library, try their luck in the card room, or relax in cozy reading nooks. Even back in the 70s and 80s, cruise ships were built for every type of traveler, from adventure seekers and social butterflies to those just looking for peace and quiet at sea. Every corner of the ship is designed to engage and entertain. Lounges host live music, cocktail hours, and impromptu dance sessions, while sun decks feature games like shuffleboard, miniature golf, even limbo competitions that encourage passengers to join in the fun. Some ships even feature small cinemas or closed-circuit TV rooms for movie screenings, providing entertainment options regardless of the weather or time of day. Passengers can spend hours exploring, socializing, or just taking in the atmosphere in this completely self-contained universe without ever getting bored. Walking through the corridors, it becomes clear that the small touches make the experience special. The lounges are adorned with fresh flowers, staff members address guests by name, and crew members move with a professional yet friendly demeanor that fosters an intimacy uncommon on today's mega cruises. Despite the ship's size, there is a personal touch to every interaction, a sense that each guest is valued and cared for. In this balance of luxury, engagement, and intimacy that defined cruising in the 70s and 80s, a golden age where every element, from facilities to cabins, was planned to make passengers feel both part of a lively, pampered, floating community. 3. Dining and food culture. Food on a cruise in the 70s and 80s was a real treat, frequently ranking among the trip's highlights. The cruise ship dining scene was designed to cater to every taste and every appetite, with multiple options available throughout the day. Passengers can select from a variety of fresh fruits, pastries, cereals, and hot dishes at the buffet, which was usually where breakfast began. Whether you were an early riser who wanted to see the sunrise over the horizon or someone who'd rather sleep in and eat breakfast slowly, there was something for everyone. Lunch on board was a special experience. Imagine walking into the ship's main dining room, crisp linens, sparkling silverware, and waitstaff who made you feel pampered without being stiff. It was the perfect mix of elegance and relaxation. Multi-course meals that could include fresh soups and salads, perfectly cooked meats, seafood, and seasonal veggies. Some ships even had themed lunch days, taking you on this mini culinary tour, all without ever leaving the deck. Now, evening dining, that was where the real magic happened. Dinners with a Caribbean, Mexican, Italian, or French theme gave the cruise experience some flair and diversity. Tableside preparations, such as crêpe Suzette or flambéed dishes, turned up meals into performances, combining flavor with spectacle. Desserts were this decadent, plentiful chocolate mousses, fruit tarts, rich cakes, even chocolate fountains, so no one went hungry. It was an era where indulgence wasn't just accepted, it was actually encouraged. But dining wasn't just about the food, it was deeply social. Passengers had the ideal chance to socialize, network, and make friends at mealtimes. Couples enjoyed romantic dinners by candlelight. Families shared laughter over a variety of dishes, and solo travelers often found themselves seated at communal tables, quickly welcomed into new circles of friends. Conversations flowed easily, and meals became as much about socializing as they were about tasting the cuisine. Drinks were plentiful too. Specialty drinks like wines and cocktails were frequently provided or included at extremely affordable costs. A toast at dinner wasn't just a formality, it was a celebration, a way of marking the joy of being at sea, away from the everyday pressures of life on land. Passengers were urged to drink, savor, and have fun without hesitation, reflecting the carefree attitude of the 70s and 80s. Then came the legendary midnight buffet. Picture this: decadent spreads of international dishes, fresh seafood, desserts, and more. Truly the highlight of cruising back then. Passengers wandered through the buffet again and again, sampling everything from freshly baked pastries to exotic delicacies, all while laughing and chatting. Chocolate fountains, fresh fruit, cheeses, and beautifully arranged platters of meat made it feel like a feast for the senses. Meals mixed great food, lively conversation, and entertainment, from candlelit dinners to the famous midnight buffet. Cruise dining in the 70s and 80s was indulgent, social, and playful. Passengers started with the breakfast buffets, enjoyed themed lunches, and ended the day with decadent dinners. Every meal a mini celebration. 4. Entertainment and activities. Theater shows. Evenings dazzled with live music, magic acts, and Vegas-style performances. Cabaret shows, comedy routines, and colorful dance numbers kept audiences entertained night after night, creating a lively, immersive atmosphere. Guests could sit close to the stage or enjoy the view from balconies, feeling fully part of the action. Costumes, lighting, and elaborate sets transformed every show into a miniature spectacle, while performers engaged with the audience, inviting applause, laughter, and even occasional participation, making each night unique and unforgettable. Deck games. Decks buzzed with energy during the day. Limbo contests, balloon races, pool competitions, and mini golf invited everyone to participate, ensuring there was never a dull moment. Staff encouraged passengers to join in, creating a spontaneous fun and camaraderie moment. Families teamed up for challenges, strangers became teammates or rivals, and laughter filled the air. The games weren't just entertainment, they were a way to connect, break the ice, and make the most of sunny deck time. Prizes, playful rivalries, and cheerful cheers kept spirits high all day. Casinos and nightlife. Casinos offered poker, roulette, slots, and that made the ship feel like a floating Monte Carlo. Lounges and nightclubs featured disco nights, live bands, impromptu dance-offs, keeping the party alive well into the night. Champagne flowed, couples danced cheek to cheek, and groups of friends showed off their moves under glittering lights. Musicians performed everything from swing to contemporary hits, creating an inclusive and thrilling nightlife. Guests could try their luck at the tables or simply soak in the atmosphere, making every evening feel like a special celebration aboard the ship. Fitness and kids activities. For active travelers, jogging tracks, aerobics classes, and tennis courts gave plenty of exercise options. Kids and teens enjoyed dedicated clubs and games, while adults could join cocktail hours, dance lessons, or trivia competitions. Staff organized challenges and tournaments, encouraging participation while fostering friendly competition. Even the youngest passengers had spaces to play, learn, and make new friends, while adults balanced leisure with physical activity. The ship offered shared opportunities for wellness, recreation, and family bonding, ensuring no one ever felt bored, tired, or disconnected from the vibrant nightlife. 5. Ports of call and shore excursions. Destinations. Cruising in the 1970s and 80s was as much about the journey as the destinations. Ships docked at ports like Mexico, Barbados, and the Caribbean islands, and Mediterranean hotspots included Santorini, Naples, and Cannes. Each stop offered its own flavor of adventure, inviting passengers to explore, relax, and soak up the local culture. Streets were lined with vibrant markets, cafes, and sunlit plazas, while the historic landscapes offered stunning views from turquoise waters to historic architecture. Passengers could wander freely, capturing photos and enjoying moments that would become lifelong memories, making each port an essential part of the cruise experience. Activities and excursions. Excursions were a highlight of every voyage. Travelers could stroll historic streets, lounge on sun-drenched beaches, shop for unique souvenirs, or taste the flavors of local cuisine. Some shops offered guided tours to hidden landmarks, while others encouraged spontaneous adventures, letting passengers create their own memorable experiences, golfing along seaside courses, joining beach games, or dancing with locals during cultural performances made every stop unique. Shore excursions weren't just sightseeing, they were interactive adventures that brought energy, laughter, and a deeper connection to each destination. Local interaction. The energy of the towns themselves added to the magic. Markets, promenades, beaches buzzed with music, laughter, and colorful sights as passengers mingled with locals. Children darted between shops, couples strolled hand in hand, and solo travelers met new friends while navigating busy streets. Ships acted as floating stages, bringing a sense of spectacle to every port as travelers disembarked in themed attire or participated in organized onshore events. This lively interaction created shared memories, a playful connection between travelers and locals, and a sense that the cruise extended beyond the ship into the heart of each destination. Memorable experiences. Every visit was a blend of relaxation, excitement, and cultural immersion. From tasting exotic foods to watching traditional performances, passengers experienced destinations in ways that connected them to local life while returning to the comfort and luxury of the ship. Each port stop became a chapter in the journey, creating vivid memories of laughter, discovery, and shared experiences. In the golden era of cruising, the ports weren't just stops along the way. They were dynamic, immersive destinations that shaped the adventure, turning every voyage into an unforgettable story at sea. 6. Unique experiences and quirks of 70s and 80s cruises. Cruising in the 1970s and 80s was full of unexpected thrills that are hard to imagine today. The ships buzzed with music, drinks, and playful chaos. Smoking was everywhere, from lounges to stages, reflecting the carefree, permissive spirit of the era. The atmosphere wasn't rigid or overly polished, it was relaxed, spontaneous, and alive with possibilities. Passengers weren't just observers, they were part of the fun. Deck games erupted into laughter-filled competitions, talent shows showcased hidden skills, and balloon-popping contests or poolside water fights turned ordinary days into memorable adventures. There was a sense that anything could happen, from a surprise limbo contest on the deck to a conga line forming in the lounge at midnight. TV shows like Love Boat made cruising glamorous, encouraging travelers to embrace this culture. Even grand ocean liners like the Queen Elizabeth II adapted, blending old-world elegance with lively, colorful entertainment appealing to all ages. This mix of tradition and playfulness gave these voyages their distinctive character. Romances blossomed over candlelit dinners, friendships were forged during games and activities, and families created traditions that lasted for decades. For many, these cruises became annual gatherings where familiar faces reunited on the open seas. Crew members often became part of these stories too, remembered fondly for their humor and ability to make everyone feel special. Every voyage felt like its own theatrical adventure, where spontaneity, indulgence, and shared experiences defined the journey. From wild deck competitions to late-night dance and music, this era of cruising thrived on inclusivity and entertainment. Guests could choose to relax or dive headfirst into the chaos. The ship offered something for everyone, making each trip unforgettable. 7. Cruise lines and their styles. Across the Atlantic and Mediterranean, each cruise line had its own personality, reflecting the tastes of its passengers and the culture of its home country. American lines, led by Carnival, were all about fun and energy. Their ships were colorful playgrounds, offering casual entertainment, deck games, and lively parties that encouraged everyone to join in. British lines like P&O and Cunard balanced tradition with modern touches. Afternoon teas, formal dinners, and classical music maintained elegance, while disco nights, pool games, and casual activities added energy and fun, a perfect mix of sophistication and playfulness. Greek lines, especially Chandri, later celebrity cruises, focused on luxury, fine dining, and cultural immersion. These Mediterranean itineraries highlighted elegant decor, refined cuisine, and excursions centered on history, art, and local experiences. Other notable lines, like Commodore, blended tradition with modern fun in unique ways, offering family-friendly amenities, midnight buffets, and engaging entertainment. Each line created its own onboard culture, showing that cruising in the 70s and 80s was as varied as it was exciting. Passengers could choose the experience that suited them, from lively fun ships to refined floating resorts. And just like that, our cruise through the 70s and 80s comes to a close. From wild deck games to decadent dining and unforgettable ports, it was pure fun at sea. Drop us your thoughts below, hit subscribe, and join us for more voyages into cruising history.